Hey guys, I'm Cap, former head coach of TSM's Overwatch 2 team, and today I want to talk about Genji, specifically what you're probably missing on Genji. The inspiration for this video, lately the stage 4 meta obviously has involved Genji on most of the maps. There's been past Genji metas, Genji and Queen. It's all pretty similar to be honest. And Genji is a very complex character. There's a very high skill ceiling. The skill floor is honestly pretty high too. It's very easy to get punished, and you're required to do a lot in the comp. You're constantly balancing, taking aggro from people with not getting punished yourself. You're kind of expected and required to make big plays, right? So how do you do all this? Well, this map from the Stage 2 Asia Grand Finals is if you want to learn Genji from just one map, watch this from both movies. We're going to go through and look at some examples, right? But Heesing and Proper, obviously both incredible Genji players, but they had two very different approaches to this map. And Heesing got punished very hard, where Proper put on one of the best Genji performances I've ever seen, right? So what was the difference? Well, we're going to look at 4 fight losing mistakes from Heesing. Yeah, you heard that right. 4 fight losing mistakes. And also, maybe consider that Crazy Raccoons lost the series by 1 map. So this is pretty important for you if you're a Genji player. So let's look at the first one. Well, the first one is the very first fight, right? So we dash on Fielder. We end up on an angle. We live. They get the kill on Stalker, right? So this is all pretty normal. Okay, so what happened here? Well, at first glance, this might look like, oh, he just missed the dash on Proper, right? But that's not everything that really happened, right? What happened is we made our first engage and we got a kill, right? And that's as good as it can possibly go. Our first dash was good, our spear was good, our micro was good, and we got that pick in the neutral, right? And this is the best that you can expect for. So what I want you to take from this clip, and this is the first fight losing mistake of 4, is you need to keep awareness of enemy threats at all times, right? What Heesing is doing is a very common Genji problem of tunnel visioning, right? Yes, we can get this kill if we hit the dash. Cool. But why coin flip this fight on the dash when there are people that can trade me behind me and to my right? Specifically Narissa that still has spear, right? What I need to do is I need to wall climb top right. I need to see where people are. I need to regain awareness of the fight. And this is step number 1 to, being a good Genji player is I need to constantly be regaining my awareness of the fight at certain triggers, right? The biggest trigger, obviously, is getting that kill. If we dashed, we did the first engage, we got that kill, that's my number 1 trigger. Absolutely right now, I need to regain awareness of the fight, right? And Genji's biggest tool, but Genji's biggest, useful quality is that at any time I want, I can gain awareness of the fight, right? I can climb up every wall in the game. I can dash anywhere I want, right? So there's no excuse not to be doing this. And you can go for this dash in a second if you want to, or you can just leave it for jumping to clean up. Who cares, right? Going for this play in the first place, yes, if he dashed, cool, right? He gets a dash reset. He maybe still dies anyways, right? So regaining awareness, this is step number 1, right? Let's go to the second fight losing mistake. So this is a retake. This is pretty close after this, right? And here, Junbin is trying to take space, but Heesing needs to help him take some space and take some pressure off him, right? This is pretty standard. So if you're taking space, what are a couple things you need to consider? Well, either we can stack, kind of, which is what he's doing here, or we can go at a little bit of an angle. Here they want to stack instead of going at a little bit of an angle because it would probably be really easy for Hanbin to just match this angle off to the right, which is like kind of the only angle he can take. So stacking is just a little bit easier, right? But the big thing here that you're going to see in a second is that anytime I'm making space for my team, or I'm the one that's kind of starting to take some aggro, I need 2 things. 1, I need to min-max my CDs and my wall climbing to make myself hard to kill, right? Because if I'm ever stepping up to the plate, I need to get out, right? If I don't get out, obviously I'm going to fucking die. And 2 is I need a clear escape plan, where am I going to dash back to that's going to make me safe in this mid fight? Where is my person that's going to take aggro off of me? Most likely one of these 2 people. And how do I get back to that person, right? So what I need, 1, I need to probably wall climb off this back wall. I need to think of a good way to use my deflect. I need to either get off of that wall behind me in the mid fight with a wall climb, or I need to dash back left into this thing really quickly, right? But what you're going to see happen is he dashes to the left. There's no wall climb micro. This deflect comes after the dash, which is a big mistake. And he's super easy to kill, right? Let's watch this one more time. He's taking space. right? Proper recognizes he's punishable, deflects right in front of him. This is probably the trigger for Falcons to go too, is they can start to walk up. And you can see they're starting to walk up here, right? Which means I'm about to get punished. So I need to start wall climbing. I need to deflect. I need to get over this wall, right? If I just wall climb, deflect, I can get over this wall behind me. Or maybe if I'm not confident about that, maybe I think I'm going to get speared as I'm wall climbing or flashed or whatever, I'm just going to instantly dash back to my team right now, right? The problem is that neither of these happen, and now you're punishable and you're dead, right? So let's go to the third fight losing mistake. Now, in this fight, they want to fight and they're defending a retake, right? So the nice part about defending a retake is you're going to get to start in whatever space you want. So he starts with a little bit of an angle here, right? You can't see it, but his team is a little bit to the left on the cart. And so this, if you are only going to pay attention to one part of this video, please let it be what I'm about to say. Because this is the number one thing, and it's a little bit hard to see maybe in the replay, right? But as a Genji player or as a flex DPS player in general, or maybe even just as a player in general, the number one not utilized enough technique is paying attention to where the enemy is looking, right? And it sounds very simple, but looking at the eyes of the enemy will tell you when you're about to get punished way more than what most people do, which is trying to min-max their health bar, right? And let me change to a color that's maybe black is a little bit easier to see here on the screen, right? So what most people will do is they'll stay on an angle until their health gets low, and then when their health is low, they'll dash out or they'll do the wall climb or whatever I was talking about, right? But that doesn't work. One, it doesn't work in this comp because there's too much burst, right? If you're playing your health bar and then you get flashed or headshot or dashed or rally bashed or whatever one of the million burst CDs is in this comp, it's too much. You can't play your health bar. Your health bar is not space to work with on this character or on most characters that are squishy, right? What I have to work with is the amount of visual aggro that's currently on me, right? This is why Mays die with Ice Block all the time. This is why Tracers die with Recall. This is why Genjis die with their CDs, like you're about to see, right? The number one flex DPS problem. So if you watch this on the angle itself is fine, right? And if you see right now, he's just started shooting people. Fielder is looking at him, right? Proper is looking at him. This is a reasonable amount of aggro to be taking. I can take a Brig and a Genji's aggro. That's fine. The scary part is when I start taking a Rissa visual aggro or when I start taking Cass visual aggro, like you're going to see in a second, because those are the people that can burst me, right? So you see he's still doing this, right? But Stalker's been looking at him this whole time, right? Stalker just back here. I need to see if he's going to look at me because what happened is he just peeked, he just headshot me. And now even if I did have an escape plan, right, which is cool, my mindset's correct, there's not enough time for me to outplay what just happened to me, right? Like if we watch this again, right? The angle's good. He probably has an escape plan out this door to his left, right? But he wasn't paying enough attention to who was looking at him, right? And so this is why, you know, most Genji players, and the reason I said if you only listen to one thing, please listen to this, is Genji's 9 out of 10, 999 out of 1,000 Genjis, the one Genji in the world would realize this was their fault, right? Genji players will do this and they'll say, oh, that was just unlucky, or how did I die there, right? How am I dead? I'm not getting enough packs or whatever kind of bullshit you're telling yourself, right? What's happening is you're not paying attention. Look at his eyes, right? Stalker just rolled. I need to not peek until I know where Stalker's looking. What's he looking at, right? I have no idea. Now 3 people are looking at me and I'm bursted, right? So even though the CDs, the positioning was all kind of not bad, he's min-maxing his health bar instead of min-maxing the visual aggro, right? So let me write this on the screen just so it's double important, right? Min-max your vision aggro and not your health bar, please. This is the most important thing, right? So now that that's understood, I'm going to leave this on the screen for a second. We're going to go to the fourth and final. Actually, there was 2 more that I even left out because they're kind of ambiguous, right? These are just the obvious ones. Here they're kind of defending another retake, right? So they start with some space, him and his Orisa, but Junbin is just kind of backed off a little bit, right? They kind of 3-2-1 Junbin, and the enemy team is starting to move up, right? So now, again, the same thing is happening, right? Who is looking at him? Well, I don't know where Lip is looking, right? His eye is off the ball. Because if Lip is looking at him here, he's about to get dinked and he's about to die, right? So taking your eye off the ball, again, is like the main reason that people die. Or sorry, not Lip, Stalker, right? But he ended up taking too much damage. Let's look at exactly when he should have backed up, right? Because obviously here is fine. He's taking some space. Proper's actually the one in danger here, right? And you can see Proper feel this pressure and deflect and dash away, right? And that's a big difference. Now Heesang is the one under pressure, right? The spin, he deflects, but he doesn't dash away. He doesn't back up through this door about right now, right? It's his turn to back up, and he doesn't. And so missing this window to take the pressure off of yourself is what he's missing, right? And that's why he's so punishable and Proper is not. If you watch this, right? Proper's holding space. Every Genji wants to hold space, right? But Proper feels this pressure. He sees he's being looked at. He deflects. He dashes to his team, right? Now it's Heesang's turn. He just deflected. The pressure's on him. Leave. Get through this door. You don't even have to dash here, right? No wall climb, no micro, no escape plan, no understanding of the pressure that's on him, and he just dies, right? And this is 100x better than what I see from almost every other Genji player, right? So now we've seen how to do it wrong. How do you do it right? Well, let's watch 2 Proper fights, and then there's a bonus sugar-free fight. And the one thing I'll say, all good Genji clips that you see are long, right? And there's a good reason for that. That's because patience is the #1 key on Genji, right? I mean, I guess I've probably claimed at this point a couple things are the #1 key, right? So just treat them all like they're the #1 key, right? But here he starts on the off angle, and then Crazy Raccoon starts this fight with an Orisa ult and a rally, right? He dashes back to his team, takes the angle pressure off himself. They got a trade on Shu, so they're 1 for 1 right now, and they have a rally, right? So Proper wants to set up this blade. If you notice, however, he's not taking any damage, right? Now it's his turn. He's going to dash up. He has all his CDs. He deflects, right? So this blade was really good. Well, why was this blade so good? Let's look at the positioning. Let's look at the triggers. So the very beginning fight positioning, he's on the angle, right? And this is fine. 1, because he has easy cover to LOS Lip if Lip is ever looking at him, or Junbin if Junbin's ever looking at him, right? 2, he's got his eye on the ball. Look who he's looking at. He's not looking at Heesang. He doesn't care about Heesang. He's looking at Lip. This is the important one, right? If Lip is shooting me, then I'm in danger, right? And so he deflects here, right? After the deflect, he's going to back up. He's taking this pressure off of himself. As they start to take this space, he doesn't want to get caught behind, so he dashes back to his team before he gets caught behind. And he's just living here, right? He's not wide swinging to the bottom right. He's not taking too much aggro. He's got his eye on the ball. Now, what did he just see? Well, Lip is walked up. Brig is walked up. If I'm looking to blade, what I need to not get my blade baited, right? If Lip was here, if their Brig was here, disciplined positioning, then it's hard to blade here, right? Because when I turn this corner, these people are going to bash away, they're going to roll away, they're going to back up. The Orisa is going to be taking most of the aggro, right? What he looked for was the squishies to be walked up, and now it's his turn. He's going to go, right? I dash up. They're all shooting me, but the squishies are too close, right? That's why this blade works. And just to be clear, if the squishies hadn't walked up here, they probably would have just done a neutral swing first, where Hanbin, their Orisa, would have taken most of the aggro. And if the squishies don't walk up, then we just have more Orisa pressure, right? And we can win the fight that way instead. So the squishies have to walk up here, kind of. But this is an incredible blade for that reason, right? The patience in the mid-fight, dashing back to your team, keeping your eye on the ball, making sure you're not one shot, right? And then the trigger with the squishies being walked up, this blade becomes 3k, right? Heesang tries to do the same thing. It doesn't work, right? That was one of the ones I almost put in there, but who cares? Let's watch a second fight. And this fight is way more subtle, right? This is what people won't pick up on when you watch this, right? So Heesang is taking through bottom, right? Because the rest of his team wants to play top or wants to play like safe positions where they can live the noon that's about to happen and the Juno ult that's about to happen, right? So his team is baiting. And when your team is baiting, your squishies are baiting, you're going to be taking a lot of the aggro as Genji. So how do you deal with this? Well, you need to learn how to read the enemy team, right? He just got speared. Obviously, he can handle one Orisa's amount of aggro, right? But the important part is what's about to happen here, right? If I'm Genji and I'm, my team is baiting and I'm the one with the most of the aggro on me, what I need to read is when I'm about to get punished, right? Or when they're about to try and punish me. And this is the #1 difference. Well, okay, I'm going to stop saying #1 because I've said #1 too many times, right? But this is an important difference between great Genji players and good Genji players. Is good Genji players leave when they're getting punished, right? Great Genji players leave before they get punished. And the difference, is what's going to carry you at levels of play when people start hitting every headshot, when people start having great CD micro, right? You can't afford to leave when you're getting punished because it's too late, right? So Junbin's here, but look at what he saw. He didn't dash away from the blade if you slow it down, right? Let me slow it down. What he dashed away from was he saw the Brig walking up, right? And if you're good at reading the team, you know that they want to go here, right? I see Heesang in the top right. I see jump in position aggressively. The only reason you would do this is if you want to go soon. So all I need is to see this Brig in the bottom left corner. The microsecond he sees that, he leaves. He didn't even dash away from the blade, right? What he actually dashed away from was seeing the squishies on the enemy team walk up here. Bam, this whip shot. Chorong peaked for literally 1 microsecond. It's 0.5 and I couldn't even pause on it correctly, right? And now he dashes away. And the blade just comes out, right? So this is the important part. He's reading them and seeing that they are about to start punishing him, right? And he leaves before it even happens. Where worse, Genji would have greeted that, would have gotten caught by that blade or caught by something and would have died, right? So let's do one little bonus fight and we'll do a little recap, right? This sugar-free fight, and this fight is long. That's why I picked it. That's why it's the bonus fight, is because if you watch this fight, Nightmare paths through the right side. Sugar-free is looking for his angle. But notice that he's not taking shots from their cast. He dashes in for the Sarissa ult. He's taking some right clicks. Deflects the Noon. Dashes out of the Orisa ult. And notice this whole time, he's not getting shot at. He's hard to shoot at. This is a combination of positioning. He's keeping his eye on the ball of the enemy cast, right? He's not easy to shoot. So 2 or 3 ults have come out already, and he's hard to punish, right? Now his angle, he was hard to hit with that rally, right? So they had to hit someone. He's still on his angle, and now is when the play is about to happen, right? The ults have come out. Nightmare needs to push here. They just got to flip. And CJ has no choice but to walk through Sugar-Free's setup angle here, right? If you look at what Sugar-Free's doing this whole fight, all he's doing is he's maintaining angles, stacking when necessary when he's about to get punished, and he's trying to make it so that if Nightmare ever pushes, which they're going to do, right? Look at the ults that they have to walk through his setup angle, and they can't afford to force him out before they do that, right? So in this long mid fight, if you can even call this a mid fight, maybe it's the start of a second fight if you want to get into semantics, right? But they're not able to play through him. They're playing through someone for his backline. And now CJ's in trouble, right? And so he pressures this ult out of CJ. This becomes a really bad ult, right? He's able to get on Seeker in this mid fight. Again, he's not even greeting that, right? And Sugar-Free does so much in this fight while getting shot like 2 times ever, right? And now they end up losing the fight, right? Because there's just such a gigantic ult advantage on Nightmare. Nightmare used like 5 ults that fight, right? But the takeaway, if you want to be good at Genji, let's do a little recap, right? What we learned from Heesang is 1, you need an escape plan anytime you're making space. 2, I need to keep my eye on the enemy's eyes, right? I'm not actually playing my health bar. If you're playing your health bar, you're going to die all the time, right? What I'm playing, what I'm min-maxing when I'm, taking aggro is I'm watching what the enemy team is shooting. And if it's me, especially from the people that can burst me, then I'm starting to back up. I'm starting to use my wall climb and cover and deflect to take aggro off of myself, right? The other thing we learned from Heesang was that... what the fuck was the other thing we learned from Heesang? I mean, I guess that was basically it, right? Like, don't play your health bar. Play the vision aggro of the enemy team. Constantly keep your eye on that ball, right? And that's how you avoid being punishable, right? That was how Proper did it. What we learned from Proper and Sugar-Free is that patience is key. Maintaining those off angles is not important as making sure you get to your team before you get punished, right? And being able to read the enemy squishies is like one of the biggest useful playmaking triggers as Genji, right? 1, if you're trying to bait, reading the squishies tells you when to leave. 2, if you're trying to go in, reading the squishies tells you when you're able to go in and actually get stuff done, right? But yeah, anyways, these are some of the most important things that I could ever teach people about Genji. Obviously, there's a lot more of the micro that goes into this, but this is what I feel. If you really want to learn Genji, right, watch that map of Runezapi from Heesang and from Proper's POV, right? And look for the subtle things, right? Replay the fights a lot. 0.25 it. Watch from the cast's POVs, right? How easy are you to look at? How easy are you to kill, right? If you ever feel like someone is just, you're dying because, oh, it's unlucky, right? Or I'm not getting care. Watch it from the enemy POV. Who killed you? How easy are you to kill? Do you look like a dumbass when you're just peeking, right? Like, does the cast see you and he's like, yo, what is this guy doing? And he headshots you one time when you die, right? But yeah, anyways, I'm going to end the video here. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll see you guys later.